On this episode, we make you more powerful so you can access a new section of the map. Welcome to Save Every Universe. My name is Alec Garcia, one of your co-hosts. I'm a vampire hunter from the Belmont clan who must rescue my kidnapped mentor from the evil Dracula.
Nice. I saw that one.
Yeah.
On your notes?
Yeah.
Did you do that because of the one I picked last week?
Is that what you did last week?
No. Well, I'm Robbie. I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast. I can't possibly be beat. I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. I am the greatest.
Nice. Who are you? So who were you last week?
Last week, I was Alucard.
Oh, okay.
And I guess we'll say next week. For when I first read your character in your notes, I was like, is he Alucard? Did he not pay attention?
I probably didn't. From which?
So I was Alucard from Symphony of the Night.
Okay, so
Castlevania.
I'm from a different one. Now you ruined it. Thanks.
Spoilers.
Yeah, and last week I was Mega Man.
Yeah, that was good. I actually didn't recognize it when you said it.
So today we were talking about, since Robbie, spoilers alert with the Castlevania, today we're talking about Metroidvania games. We got a special request to do an episode about this from
Boss Charlie.
From our Dad's of Destiny clan.
I think he owes us a tattoo after this. He has to tattoo Save Every Universe.
Is that right?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can send it. We'll send you the logo.
Yeah. He requested that we do a Metroidvania.
Yeah, and actually, so I think anyone who's a gamer has played a few of these games at least.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been around so long, and I, much to my shame, have never actually heard the term Metroidvania, even though like I would think of these games as like a class unto themselves kind of thing. But I had actually never heard that term until this came up.
Yeah, so I had heard the term, but I thought it was kind of a niche term kind of thing, like only.
But they're kind of having a comeback. Like if you look on like the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store, there's modern indie games that are in the purest tradition of Metroidvania style gaming. Yeah.
So let's start by explaining what that is.
Yeah. So on the note of learning things, it's a portmanteau, which is the term for two words sort of smashed together, right? So it's from Metroid and Castlevania. Like it's that genre, that style of game where there's a very large map divided into sections and you can kind of go, and then as you go along, you unlock powers that give you access to new areas.
Right. It can be like a combination of powers or key cards,
right?
Or sometimes like you'll get, if it's like a militaristic kind of thing, it'll be like you got the red card.
Yeah.
But you tend to be like gaining upgrades,
right?
And you will always see these things early on and kind of go, ooh, I want to come back.
Oh, how do I get into that? Or
how do I get in there?
So one of the first things I thought about when this came up, I was like, oh, that sounds exactly like Batman Arkham Asylum. So as we were reading and doing research, I found like a whole bunch of forums where people were like, oh, Batman Arkham Asylum's a really good 3D Metroidvania, and people will actually lump it in there. And then there's kind of this other camp where people are purists and they're like, no, it has to be large map, it has to be 2D, it has to be like there's ingredients where it has to be that Metroid Castlevania style or it is not a Metroidvania.
Yeah, so I guess we should probably think of it from the beginning. Like, so Metroid, Nintendo game, was for NES. I actually think I more played Super Metroid for Super
and part
Nintendo.
of it started with Zelda, where it was like the grid top down, and then as you go, it like you'd hit the edge of the map and it would like slide over and there would be a new square. It's the same mechanics. In Zelda, though, it was top down.
Right.
And it was an RPG-ish style game. And then you had platformers, which were like action games running on a side scroller, and Metroidvania games kind of put those two things together. The large map, the gridded off large map, they combined that with side scrolling action, and that was Metroid and then Castlevania.
Right. And Castlevania, I guess they all kind of did it, even the ones on NES, and they've always kind of had that same style.
Yeah.
I mean, Symphony of the Night was the first one for me that I think I played Castlevania 3.
And for me, the one that I just played the living crap out of was the one on Game Boy Advance, which was Castlevania Circle of the Moon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was on the Game Boy Advance, the square one that flipped open and stuff. Man, I just, for like one summer, I played that game just nonstop.
Did you?
I never got really too into Metroid ever. I'm not a big Metroid fan, but I really like Castlevania. Some of the more recent ones, SteamWorld Dig 2. Like I think I mentioned that on previous episodes. That's a really good in the traditional like style of that. Guacamelee is one that when we were preparing for this episode, I was looking at lists of like best modern Metroidvania games of all time, and Guacamelee was on there. I was like, that sounds really familiar, and it was a free game on PSN on the PlayStation, like the free monthly games.
Right.
I downloaded it and then never played it because I thought it was some like just crappy little indie fighting game or something like that, and I never touched it. And so I started playing it recently, and it is fantastic. It's Mexico style luchador, like the art style and stuff is so cool, but it's a very true purist Metroidvania type game.
Yeah, the one thing about this style of game that it seems like to it seems like to me, is it started out as like first party, big title, like big name publishers were making these types of games.
It was like Capcom and
Konami did, the Castlevania games. Nintendo did, Metroid, and even on like GameCube and stuff. I mean, they all retained a lot of that same aspect, right? But now, if you go to Metroidvania, Steam, by the way,
has a category, Metroidvania.
If you just Google Metroidvania games, it actually has like best of right at the top. Google knows what it is. Yeah. If you see like a lot of the more modern ones, they're indie titles.
Right.
They're not Nintendo making. I mean, they're still Metroid or whatever, but it's amazing how many indie Metroidvania titles there are now.
Yeah. Why do you think? It's kind of like the big studios run with whatever is like the hot new thing, where they have the budget to really maximize the most modern technology available. But I mean, like even with like Super Meat Boy, like the super hard platformers, there's smaller developers who it's almost like an homage to the games they grew up playing and loving.
Yeah, so I think somewhere along the way for me, like they fell off my radar because of that. Probably because I didn't really follow as many indie games. Like I played Shadow Complex for the 360, and there's a couple I played along the way.
Yeah, Shadow Complex was on a list of a lot of
that's one of my favorites. Yeah. And it had really cool like 3D aspects where you could like turn into the background and foreground.
And it was more of a shooter,
Yeah, but it was still mostly like it almost looked like Contra, but it was really a Metroidvania because you had to get key cards, new parts of the suit to unlock, come back around, whatever. Which kind of reminded me more of Metroid if you really thought about it. But I don't know why, but I like stopped playing them, and it wasn't really until we were preparing for this episode that I was like, holy crap, I haven't played like a pure Metroidvania game in a really long time.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's just so many other things that are like the bright, shiny object when it comes to AAA development. Like obviously like big, like Hollywood style storytelling's a big deal. Really polished shooter mechanics are a big deal, and that's not what you get with these games. But one of the things I love about them is that they are like the original open world game. Before open world was even a term or a thing, like a large map exploration, unlocking new areas, like they are the original open world game before that was a thing.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of thinking about it, because just like an open world game where you kind of look beyond the horizon, wonder what's over there, and want to see what's in the cave and see what's the big boss or whatever, that's exactly what these style of games do for you. That feeling of like coming up to the locked door. Sometimes they'll even like taunt you with armor or something. You can see something on the other side, like, oh, I gotta get that thing, gotta get that shiny. Like it's really motivates you as the player to keep going and to push and to explore.
Yeah, and I think it caters to like that OCD like personality type that like for me, like I think that's why I really get sucked into it. Like SteamWorld Dig 2, I just played that. I just wanted to uncover like every area. And if I brought open the map and it was huge and I saw one spot that was like grayed out where it was clearly there was a path, but like I forgot to take it and I was like on the other side of the map. I was like, okay, I have to go. I have to see what's there.
I remember even having moments, especially in like Symphony of the Night and stuff, where I would look at it and I would go, did I clear that? And like there was like a discoloration and I'd be like, that could be
have to go check.
Is that a secret or just I gotta go jam my face against that wall and see if it moves out of the way or whatever.
And on that note, like I actually think that if you think of them as the original open world games, I think good Metroidvania games do something right that modern open world games should steal from more and don't. Like I think Batman Arkham Asylum, even though it's not, I mean, it's a big map where you explore and stuff like that. I don't know if anyone would consider that totally an open world game, but close. But they did such a good job as like, as you go around, there's all these like mysterious Joker riddles and these like things where you have to upgrade your bat grapple to like rip the wall down or whatever.
Well, they were Riddler riddles.
What did I say?
Joker riddles?
Oh yeah, Riddler riddles. Anyway.
No, you're absolutely right. Especially in like the third one, once you got the Batmobile and you'd be like, is that an electric thing I need to charge? And you'd have to get new upgrades.
And those Metroidvania games do such a good job of wanting to grind for the next power up to like unlock that next world. They make that really rewarding and incentivized in a lot of times better than some modern open world games do. Like I was thinking about it with Assassin's Creed, and my favorite one was Brotherhood, and they did that almost a little bit with Leonardo da Vinci, like giving you the power-ups and you got like the glider and stuff like that. And if you felt like you were sort of progressing in the world a little bit more, and I feel like a lot of the other Assassin's Creed games lost that. I haven't played Origins yet. I'm trying to not buy it out of spite, but I keep hearing good things.
Everyone says
I know. I'll probably cave eventually. And Breath of the Wild, for example, like you were on that island and you could see this big vast vast open world that you wanted to explore, but you had to like go through the steps to get the glider first to like quote unlock that area.
You know, that's true, but actually I think Breath of the Wild is probably one of the least like that Zelda games. Because really after you get once you get off that tutorial island, it's not like that at all. You can do things in any order. You can,
they have like the fire area though. Like you have to have the specific armor to go there. Like Zelda's always done some of that. I feel like more than some other open world games.
That's true to a point. I think Breath of the Wild is the least. Really, the only requirement is to get there. Right. You could just get a fire potion and.
Well, there were some spots where you had to do like the Rivali's Gale to like catapult, like to fly up to get to like the tops of certain towers and those kinds of things.
Well,
I guess if you got creative,
get around
right?
it. Yeah, I mean, there's so many videos of like people using like the magnet to just launch themselves.
Oh yeah, or the timing the thing and hitting it and then.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely
I guess you could
easier.
do it. Yeah.
It got easier as you got like the Gale and as you got. But you could have done those in any order.
Right.
I mean, I didn't get the Gale until second or third, I think.
Yeah.
I wished I would have gotten it first because it made things so much easier as far as exploring goes.
That's fair, but like
but if you think of like Ocarina of Time, or whatever, you definitely
had to have specific pieces of gear to like go to the water, to like beat the water temple or to unlock
or
certain things.
The treasures, like you'd have to get the bow, you'd have to get the hook shot, you'd have to get you couldn't even progress in the game
unless you got those things. And so I think that those mechanics, I feel like a lot of open world games, kind of just like it's like you can do anything and it's like I don't know what to do, so I guess I might do nothing. I'll just beat the story and then I'll put it away. And those good open world games use similar mechanics, I think, to Metroidvania games where they make it incredibly rewarding to get that next power up and access that next world or whatever, that next area of the map.
I think when it's done well, it's a carrot, right? Yeah. It's something that like makes you want to explore, kind of like you could go several directions. Yeah. You're not sure, but you kind of want to go this way. It can also be used as a stick where it's kind of lazy. And it's like, well, you can't go that way. And you just kind of slam your face into all the walls until you're like, I guess I can only go one way.
Yeah. And Assassin's Creed was one of the examples I thought where it's just this like sort of like you can't access that memory yet.
Right.
Whereas like there were probably opportunities there to really make that more rewarding by like you had to advance in your skills to a certain level to like unlock that area or something.
Yeah, and that's a much more satisfying way of when you're like, oh, I got the grappling hook or I got the whatever. Yeah.
Instead of it just being an arbitrary curtain that gets lifted when the developers say so.
Right. You could also think like maybe Mario 64. It didn't feel bad, but it was still kind of that, well, you don't have enough stars.
Right.
Come back. But what they did right, I think, about it was that it still wasn't linear.
Right.
Like in Mario 64,
you could choose the different doors you wanted to explore in what order, depending on And
you couldn't do them all right off the bat, but once you would get 20, you'd have like 3 branches open up. Right. And once you got 50 and so on.
Right.
Was Odyssey like that? I haven't played it yet. Or was it more linear?
It was more. I think it was more linear, and some people might disagree with that because there's a lot you can do to like go explore deeper. But it is fast. It's like you land on a world, you get some moons or whatever, and then you leave, and then you land on a world, you get some moons. If you want to play it straight, it's a really short linear game, even though there are some open world aspects to it.
Yeah.
It's really after you beat it, like the end game or whatever is collecting all 900 moons or whatever is where the freedom comes, I guess. I don't know. I wasn't that big a fan of Odyssey though, so I might not be the right person to like have enthusiasm to answer that question.
That's fair. I did want to ask you, Horizon Zero Dawn, since I've only played like the opening.
Yeah.
How do you progress in that? Is it an open world exploration or is it?
They do a little bit of a mix of so like in the beginning of the story, like there are some like meaningful story caps where it's like you have to go to the edge of like the tribe's territory to like go through this gate and that kind of thing, which I like. And then as you go along, there are other things where there's like zones where it's like capped at like level. You can go into them and die, sort of like Breath of the Wild style, but it'll warn you like you need to be level 20 to go into this and unlock this thing. So,
but it's not like abilities that you unlock, or is it just kind of leveling?
They don't cap you out by abilities. So like in a Metroidvania game, it'll be like you have to have this hook shot or whatever it is to like get across this gap, and you're not making it if you don't have that.
Or Castlevania would be like shape shifting. You have to learn to turn into the bat or whatever.
Right, exactly. So in Horizon Zero Dawn, it was a little bit more like you had gear that makes it easier to battle the robots or whatever that you need to take down that way.
That makes sense.
Or you need a certain level of bow, that kind of thing to if you're going to have a shot at surviving.
Just surviving, yeah. So why do you think it is that it's more of, is it like a development cost thing? Do you think it's like it's not shiny anymore, it's more of like a cult following, and that's why you don't see as many like big name or Metroidvania games? Or do you think they've just kind of been folded into the open world and we've just kind of moved on?
Yeah, I would, in my opinion, I think the open world games are the natural big developer evolution of games like that. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it's just not as impressive. I think you have to be kind of a diehard gamer and sort of an enthusiast already to appreciate like the intricacies of what is in a Metroidvania game, like the mechanics and the Can you imagine a AAA developer making a Metroidvania game now, like a true pure?
No, I mean they remade Metroid 1. Nintendo did.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be weird if like at E3 the curtains rolled back and like Sony announced
it was like a 2D.
Yeah. I don't see them doing that.
And people are making great games though. They're even telling great stories inside of the Metroidvania genre, but it's just not impressive. You know, I mean, Call of Duty, in my opinion, is like it's shiny and like boots on the ground and World War II, Yahoo! But it's like it's kind of a garbage franchise in my opinion. But it has enough of the shiny, big Hollywood whatever to like it still sells a ton of copies.
Wow, people, and that's what you mean when you say impressive. Like it's just not.
Yeah, not impressive like in quality. Impressive like it has all the shiny bells and whistles that make people go, ooh, that looks good, I'll get that. Yeah. And Metroidvania games do not have that. It's just the 8-bit thing is a very niche deal.
I think that's too bad. They're a lot of fun, and like it wasn't really until we started preparing for this episode that I realized how much I've like missed out on in like the last, it's probably been 10 years since I played like a good one. I kind of went like made a list and was like, oh, like I remember when Strider was coming out and I was really excited for it, and then I just forgot. I was like, wow, it's like $10 now. Right. Like I could just go pick that up.
Yeah, and Axiom Verge is another one that I threw into my wish list that I'm definitely going to pick up. And those indie games, I just love them. They do so many cool things with art style and that kind of stuff, but it is more subtle. You have to already be a gamer to, I think, to get on board with it. It's not something that someone's going to be strolling down the aisle at Target or whatever and be like, okay, Assassin's Creed Origins, Call of Duty, World War II, or this $20 2D game. And it's like, you know, it's not going to compete.
That makes sense though, right? Because if it's not mainstream enough, then how are you going to discover it, right? Like you have to be the type of person who's reading gaming articles, searching them out. Yeah. I mean, hell, I've even do those things, and I've still missed
some of these
a lot
slip
of this.
Under the radar. Yeah.
Because I feel a little embarrassed. That, like it's only like a year into our podcast that I'm like finding out about some of these things. So.
Any closing thoughts?
It's a great genre. It's one I actually have a lot of nostalgia towards. I played like all of the Castlevanias from like Symphony of the Night on for years. Like I didn't miss a single one for a long time. I know they moved to 3D now with something Shadows.
The one, they haven't had one since PS3.
The second one's coming out too. I think it's like Dracula's origin story or something, and they look good. I imagine they follow the same format. Right. But there was something about once it switched to 3D, I just was like,
felt a little bit wrong.
I'm not gonna play it. Though everyone I've talked to loves it. Yeah. So I probably just need to check it out. I just need to search them out, I think. They tend to be cheap. They're well made. They have great art styles. And they're so vastly different from each other. Like playing one and then playing another, they're still like really different. It doesn't feel like you're
and that genre is such a grandfather to so many, like we've been talking about, to so many other modern gaming mechanics that it really is cool to go back and play them. And you see like almost like the nuts and bolts of like a well-made game when you play stuff like that. Yeah,
I think that's a good way of looking at it.
Thank you for listening to Save Every Universe. If you enjoyed this episode, please go give us a review on iTunes. It helps us out bunches and bunches and oodles.
If you have any questions for us or something you want to hear us talk about, reach out to us at saveeveryuniverse@gmail.com.